you looked up blowout earnings in the dictionary, it would be Apple's March quarter. I mean, this is what I almost say is a dream scenario for the bulls in terms of what you see on iPhones, services, is of course on the buyback as well. This really just shows, many skeptical about the super cycle. You look at this quarter, this sort of puts the, what I believe is the exclamation mark that the super cycle is alive and well. This looks like this is going to be Apple's historic year where they'll break 231 million iPhones. I think right now this is the catalyst to get this to $175, $200. This is really, in my opinion, probably the best quarter I've seen from Apple in the last 18, 24 months.
Mike, why is Apple jumping when Microsoft didn't? I mean, all of these mega cap tech companies are blowing the numbers out of the park. Some are responding higher, others aren't.
Well, a $12 billion upside revenue beat for a 3-month period is pretty extraordinary. So I think it's the margin of victory, so to speak, that Apple put in there. Also, Apple shares basically flat since September 2nd in the mid-130s and actually went up above 140 at some point. So the context was the stock certainly was not overextended in the short term.
Let's get back to Josh Lipton. He's got comments from Apple CEO Tim Cook on the quarter. Josh.
Sarah, I did have the chance to speak with Apple CEO Tim Cook about the quarter. I want to start with iPhone. Again, $47.94 billion in the quarter versus an expectations of $41.4 billion from the street. Here's what Cook told me. iPhone grew 66%, he said, and it was driven by strong demand from the iPhone 12 family. The iPhone 12 is the most popular iPhone, but we had extremely strong results in iPhone 12 Pro and iPhone 12 Pro Max. The carrier deals, Cook telling me, in the U.S. are supercharging demand. In the U.S., it is a highly competitive marketplace, and you see iPhone doing extremely well around the world. To that point, I also did ask Tim Cook about what the trends and themes he's seeing in China. Cook telling me we are seeing strength across the product line in China. iPhone did extremely well, but Mac, iPad, wearables, home and accessories also did well. We had the top 2 selling smartphones in urban China. And finally, on this Mac number, again, 9.1 billion versus expectations of 6.9 billion. Cook saying we're seeing strong first-time buyers on the Mac. It continues to run just south of 50%. And in China, he told me it's even higher than that. It's more around 2/3, and that speaks to people preferring to work on the Mac. Again, conference call, guys, at 5 p.m. Eastern. Back to you all.
Josh Lipton, thank you very much. Valuable comments there from Tim Cook. Ed Lee, I'll come to you. We haven't heard from you yet. 66% growth in iPhone. You heard Cook describe the momentum in different parts of the world and in different parts of the portfolio, not just in the phones. What's your impression? Why does this come as such a surprise to the street?
Well, so first of all, I'm going to give it to Dan Ives on this because I've always been sort of a super cycle skeptic, but clearly there is a definite super cycle, and that's what we're seeing here. I think the color on the China numbers is absolutely fantastic for Apple. I actually thought, they might have that sort of nice blip from the last quarter, and it might sort of plateau. No, it seems like China likes Apple products more than ever. Also, we're talking about in the context of pandemic that, people were beefing up their hardware, beefing up their sort of home electronics during this time. I actually think it's ultimately going to help even when we get out of pandemic or mid-pandemic, whatever you want to call it. I think people have now started to realize that how important it is to have sort of a good ecosystem of products at home, because even as people go back to the office, they're going to spend some time at home. They're going to spend maybe 2 or 3 days a week from home, and that's going to be part of their sort of new normal. So Apple really wins out on this. And I think compared to Microsoft, I know that was a good interesting comparison. I mean, Apple's still consumer facing, right? Now, ultimately, that's what we're seeing in Google and Facebook and now Apple is that, that there's been a supercharge in just engagement and activity with these products. And I think that's reflected in these numbers. And it's hard to find anything negative, though I'm still looking. So that's my take so far.
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.